Hi everyone and welcome to the weekly update with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets. Each week I take you through the key events I believe will be driving your investments in the coming days. Now, we're a week into this whole post-Brexit scenario going on for the markets, and there's still a fair amount of uncertainty as to exactly how to act moving forward and where to be positioned. Certainly, I think the safe haven trades have still got a little bit of movement further to the upside. We're seeing a huge upside move in precious metals, especially in the likes of silver in the last few days, breaking strongly higher above its resistance at 1850. Gold is also pushing higher. You also see in the likes of the yen has been strong, and also treasury yields going to the downside as well. This is all sort of playing out, and I think will continue to play out in the coming weeks and months, because now we've got the whole prospect of, as Mario Draghi put it, a renewed sort of move towards competitive devaluations by central banks. So that could continue to depress yields and subsequently safe haven flows being positive, certainly in the case of gold. So I think that's what we're pretty much set up for. But we've got a bit more of a focus on the US this week. We've got the payrolls report, we've got the ISM non-manufacturing to look at, and also the Fed minutes. So sort of slight focus back off the Brexit for now, but I think in the coming months we'll see it all playing out in the markets. But as I said, this week, focusing a little bit more on the US. But that is sort of takes me to the Forex markets and how they're positioned. Well, we had that sharp move to the downside on Brexit, slight rebound subsequently since then, a bit of a retracement move, but I think subsequently we're going to see continued dollar strength. The dollar is still seen as a safe haven in these markets, and I think that's going to continue to play out in the likes of the euro dollar, pulling that lower. I think we're going to see further downside in cable as well. Certainly for the euro dollar, finding support and pulling higher back towards sort of 111, 112 area. I think that's a pretty decent sell zone for me, and I think certainly we're going to see further pressure on the cable downside towards the 32 figure. If you see 32 figure broken, that leads to the post-Brexit low 31.18, and subsequently below that you're at a 31-year low, aren't you? So you're probably looking at a round figure of 30, big figure again, and then into the low, into the 20s. In terms of dollar yen, I think we've got the BOJ at the end of the month, so I think you're still seeing a bit of positioning ahead of that, but I think the safe haven flows of the yen will continue to drive that chart lower. RBA announced monetary policy tomorrow morning. In fact, it's expected to be no change on interest rates, but we could see a bit of a dovish shift in rhetoric. Maybe that would be a puller of the Aussie lower in due course. Now, in terms of your equity markets, well, we're seeing huge outperformance of FTSE 100, incredible move higher. You've got such a large proportion of the FTSE 100, about 70% or so of revenues are generated abroad. So subsequently, you see the fall away in sterling. That is a boost for all these companies who generate their revenue abroad and translate it back into sterling. Subsequently, these share prices have pushed higher. You've seen the FTSE strongly higher, breaking out. Really strong turnaround. Not really been able to drag the markets with them, actually. You've seen Wall Street unwind to a certain extent, but the DAX and the CAC are under a little bit of pressure still, even though they have bounced a little bit with FTSE, certainly not to any real extent that FTSE has. In terms of your commodity prices, well, as I said, we've seen silver and gold strongly higher. Gold breaking out above 1300. That's a strong move. Found support at 1306 as well. Again, that's a strong bullish move. Nice trend channel going on in gold. Positive moves and momentum, and I think we're going to see further upside in due course. Maybe a little bit of a pullback, possibly not this week, depending on how non-farm payrolls goes, probably. But if payrolls were strong, for example, that could see a bit of a pullback on gold. Maybe that would be your opportunity to get back in again on the long side. In terms of oil, we're seeing a bit of a consolidation. It's not entirely bearish, certainly, but the bulls have just lost their way a little bit in the last few weeks. Just beginning to move a little bit sideways, although they are holding on to strong breakout supports at the moment. So what about for the rest of the week? Well, as I said, we've got the service sector PMIs, and that will be interesting, because I think the main focus being on the ISM non-manufacturing data, which disappointed so strongly last month, down at lowest, I think it was since February 2014 there, so need to see an uptick on that non-manufacturing data. And then the market will be looking out for the Fed meeting minutes, probably a little bit sort of not a bit of a non-story to a certain extent now you've had the Brexit decision, but we'll still have a bit of a read of what they said in the event of a Brexit anyway. And finally, we got the payrolls report. Are we going to see an improvement? Well, we saw 38,000, which was impacted a little bit by strike issues. But certainly there's been an expectation for a rebound to 170,000. And also we need to see average earnings picking up, possibly if it hits the expectations, which is again for 0.2% positive on the month, and that would be an uptick to 2.7%. So that would be a little bit of traction. And also see what happens in the participation rate, which fell so sharply last month, and also the unemployment linked to the participation rate, unemployment falling back to 4.7. What's going to happen there? So lots of volatility. I think we're going to see expected on the FTSE, on the non-farm payrolls report on Friday, as ever, and it could give a little bit of trading opportunities for some of these charts. So I wish you good luck in your trading through the week, and I'll speak to you next time. Thank you.